This is the Tokyo Olympics coronavirus update. There is so much going on in Japan right now. The start of the Tokyo Olympics, record numbers from a huge spike in coronavirus daily new cases, an unbearable heat wave, and a threatening typhoon that was aimed at Tokyo. In today's video, I will give you the most recent update of what is happening in Japan. So let's get started. Hi, I'm Mike Matsuno, the man in Japan. I'm from Hawaii and I've been living in Japan for over 25 years. This is the Life in Japan channel. If you're interested in Japan, please check out this video. And if you like the content, please hit that like button and subscribe. First, on a positive note, after a lot of struggle and many doubts, the Tokyo Olympics successfully commenced on July 23rd, and the Tokyo Olympics are overall going quite smoothly. In fact, at the posting of this video, Japan as a medal contender is so far actually doing quite well, winning 17 gold medals and a total of 30 medals in all. They are presently ranked second for the number of gold medals and fourth for total numbers of Olympic medals. There is 1 week left to go. The Olympics will end next Sunday on August 8th. On the downside this past week, Japan experienced a massive surge of new coronavirus cases, which yesterday reached an unprecedented first-time daily high of over 12,000 new cases in one day. Consequently, Prime Minister Suga, in addition to Tokyo and Okinawa, who are already on a state of emergency, reinstated the state of emergency for 4 other prefectures: Osaka, Kanagawa, Saitama, and Chiba until August 31st. There are 11 prefectures in Japan that are at the highest red alert stage 4 when measuring the average number of new cases per 100,000 people for the past 7 days. Anything over 25 cases is considered to be high and it's stage 4. Hospitals are very concerned about the medical system collapsing. Tokyo is in an ongoing medical crisis while at the same time hosting the world's largest international sports event, the Olympics. It remains to be seen if Japan can carefully walk that tightrope of hosting the Olympics safely while keeping the surging Delta virus in check. In addition to the coronavirus, there is a scorching heat wave going on right now in Japan with daily boiling temperatures in the mid-30s centigrade, which is the low 90s Fahrenheit, with a high humidity of 70 to 80%. Novak Djokovic, the #1 ranked tennis player in the world, said that he has never experienced playing in such extreme hot and humid conditions before. And as I said in my last video, you do not want to visit or live in Japan in the summer. The best time to come is in the fall or spring, and even winter is doable, but never in the summer. What made things even more concerning for the Olympics was that last weekend when the opening was going on, the weather report showed a Typhoon Nepartak, heading directly for the Tokyo area. Fortunately, the typhoon took an early turn and headed north, and Tokyo was spared outside of some heavy rain and wind. But it did cause some Olympic events to be moved to different days and times. The only people who were really happy for the typhoon were the surfers and their fans, as the typhoon winds created some big waves to make the Olympic surfing competition events that much more exciting. Some people have suggested that the Olympics are the cause of the spike in the Tokyo coronavirus numbers. But the government has said that with no spectators, strict traffic controls, rigorous anti-corona measures and restrictions, that the Olympics is not the problem. However, at this point, it doesn't really matter as there is no turning back. Japan cannot or would not stop or cancel the Olympics no matter what happens with the coronavirus. So let's just hope and pray that everything goes smoothly and the Tokyo Olympics will end next weekend safe and sound. But soon after the end of the Tokyo Olympics, there is still the Tokyo Paralympics scheduled, which will begin on August 24th and will run for 2 weeks. There are other factors that may be adding to the new daily high numbers of COVID cases in Japan. All schools and universities in Japan are now out on summer vacation until the end of September. And of course, since it's summer, young people naturally want to go out and play, see their friends, and have fun. But the data now shows that the majority of new cases are from young Japanese in their 20s. Moreover, most young people in their 20s have not been vaccinated, either due to not being able to get their vaccine coupon from the city hall yet, and or there's also vaccine hesitancy among the younger people, similar to what is going on in other countries. And I would add another major factor is corona fatigue, where after a year and a half of abiding by the government's coronavirus measures and policy of social distancing, staying at home, many people are tired of the coronavirus and restrictions. For example, Tokyo has been in almost a constant state of emergency for practically the entire 7 months of 2021. I think it is only natural that many people have become jaded by any new state of emergency or quasi-rigorous anti-infection restrictions. The state of emergency has been devastating to restaurants and bars and izakayas and any businesses related to serving alcohol, as they have been asked to close. These business owners are very upset and have asked why should they be the only businesses forced to close and punished every time there's an outbreak of coronavirus. And they have a point. For example, recently in Tokyo, even with the state of emergency in place and closing of all the bars and restaurants, the number of new coronavirus cases continued to soar since the state of emergency was implemented again on July 12th. And yesterday, the number reached an unprecedented 4,000 new cases in Tokyo. In addition to the 6 prefectures on a state of emergency, 5 other prefectures will be put on the quasi-rigorous anti-infection restrictions, which is slightly less strict than the state of emergency, where businesses are asked to not serve alcohol in principle, but can serve alcohol, although they still have to close by 8 p.m., which means the last call is 7 p.m. Japan has 3 long holiday periods throughout the year: Oshogatsu, New Year's, Golden Week, end of April, beginning of May, and Obon vacation, which is usually the entire second week of August. Obon is a special holiday to return home to pay respect to your ancestors' spirits and their graves. It's a time of year when the spirits of your deceased ancestors also return to visit their homeland. Last year, due to COVID, people were asked not to travel and not to visit their hometowns due to the young people possibly transmitting the virus back home from the urban cities to the outlying prefectures and cities. So many young people did not return home. Here's a video I made last year summer about that situation. But this year, due to 70% of the 65 years and older group being vaccinated, more people will be traveling back and returning home to their hometowns to see their parents and grandparents, especially since overseas travel is still not possible if you're not vaccinated. Many young people are hesitant to get vaccinated because of the optimistic bias, which is also known as the illusion of invulnerability, which is a mistaken belief that their chances of contracting the coronavirus and getting sick is lower than those of their peers. Add to that the corona fatigue of a year and a half with the same old measures from the government. Then top that off with the Olympics factor, which even without spectators watching the Olympic images on TV creates a festive and exciting type of feeling, which on one hand is good and it helps people feel emotionally happy and moved as well as proud of Japan. However, it may also give some people a sense of false security that everything in Japan is okay and they can go about with their daily lives without worrying or caring about the coronavirus. That was one of the major arguments and reasons why the Medical Advising Committee to the Japanese government, headed by Dr. Shigeru Omi, pushed so hard for no spectators. The medical advisors did not want Japanese people who were sitting at home watching on their TV to see spectators having a great time at the actual venues. The logic was that the optics of watching Japanese spectators enjoying themselves openly and freely at the venues would give those at home a false sense of security that everything was okay, which would lead more people to go out, see their friends, and move about. The biggest game changer has been the Delta variant. About 70% of all new corona cases in Japan are now being classified as a Delta variant. And with Japan being way behind most advanced countries in the vaccination rollout, it's going to get much worse before it gets better. If you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe. The vaccinations in Japan have been moving ahead, but again, the government continues to fumble the handling of the supply of vaccines. Taro Kono is the minister in charge of vaccinations and the rollout, and who I originally thought was one of the few government ministers who could actually make things happen. But he turned out to be a kind of disappointment, as he is frequently on TV changing the government's stance and position due to not connecting all the dots before. At the beginning of June, the Japanese government had asked private businesses and universities to set up their own vaccination centers on their properties and campuses to get their employees, teachers, and students vaccinated as quickly as possible to speed up the vaccination rollout. There was a huge amount of interest by businesses and universities to quickly vaccinate their employees and students, and so many applications were sent into the government. However, 3 weeks later, Kono-san came back on the news and said the government is no longer accepting any more applications because there were too many and they were not sure if they had enough vaccines. Anyone would have thought that Kono-san and the government should have known how much vaccine stock and future supply was available before they announced and opened up the initial acceptance of applications. Many Japanese were upset at the lack of the Japanese government's foresight. It's just another example of discombobulation and confusion of the Japanese government that has continued throughout the entire vaccination rollout. I have made many recent videos asking why has the vaccine rollout been so confusing and slow in Japan. They're up here. Why couldn't Japan, who is one of the most efficient, detail-oriented, organized, and best time management countries in the world, be so slow and make so many mistakes and miscalculations in the vaccine rollout? I believe the answer is a lack of critical thinking by government officials when there is no precedent. If Japan decided to improve on a product or process that was already in place, few to none could beat or compete against the Japanese. However, if it comes to critically think and quickly solve an unprecedented crisis like the coronavirus pandemic and quickly decide what the best plan of action would be, the Japanese government is still presently unprepared and lacks the critical thinking and mindset to handle such types of challenges. Thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, please subscribe and hit that like button. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Catch you on the backside.